Well, guys, aliens are real. This week, America witnessed one of the most historical moments of our generation. Wednesday, July 26th, Congress held a hearing to discuss the existence of UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena, UFOs. It just baffles me. The fact that governmental figures decided to sit down and discuss for 2 hours to seriously discuss aliens. I just feel like governments talking about aliens is just something I see in a sci-fi movie, not in real life, but it happened. It happened. And according to whistleblowers' testimonies, they're real. You know, it's one thing when you see someone on TikTok or on YouTube or just some random person across the street just mention any conspiracy talking about, oh, aliens are actually real. The government is trying to cover it up. There is a whole disinformation campaign going about. All that stuff. But it's another thing when former US Navy and air pilots actually say, yeah, all those things that those conspiracy theorists all say, it's true. Not only that, but we've been hiding it from you guys for almost a century.
Has the U.S. government become aware of actual evidence of extraterrestrial, otherwise unexplained forms of intelligence? And if so, when do you think this first occurred?
I like to use the term non-human. I don't like to denote origin. Keeps the aperture open, both scientifically. Right. Certainly, like I've discussed publicly previously, 1930s.
I've always known that the existence of intelligent life forms somewhere else in the universe was there. I mean, to think that we're the only intelligent life form in a universe that expands about 93 billion light years is not only selfish, but it's damn near impossible. But yeah, I've always had a feeling that something was out there, but to have it confirmed by people from the government, it makes things pretty real. And I know a lot of people right now are sort of memeing this situation. They're sort of like, oh, aliens are real. Whoop-de-doo. I still got to pay my bills. I got to be human. What do I care? I mean, you should care a lot. I mean, this is like crazy information that we've just been exposed to. And it's something big. That is to say, if all of this is true. So something about congressional hearings is that you have to swear under oath. Basically, everything you are about to say is 100% legit, and it has to be legit because lying is a big no-no. A big 5-year prison sentence no-no. So putting that into mind, we could pretty much trust that these guys are going to say as much truth as they can. Although it's still good to be a little bit skeptical, even with the truth. I mean, we're talking about aliens here. This is something that not everyone has ever believed in. People still don't believe in aliens. I mean, during the hearing, they mentioned how people didn't take the idea of extraterrestrial life out there seriously until 2017. That was 6 years ago. It's not that long. So yeah, people are going to be skeptical about it. People are still skeptical about this. I mean, we used to view aliens the same way we viewed zombies and werewolves in movies, you know, as just pure fiction and fantasy, just something that wasn't in reality. But now it is. I've also seen people refute the skepticism by saying, oh, but they swore under oath. They can't possibly lie. It's strictly forbidden. It's pure taboo. But it's a possibility. I mean, people have lied under oath before. And, you know, when it comes to the topic of aliens, UFOs, and UAPs, whatever you want to call it, it's a golden opportunity to lie because we don't have concrete information that these things exist except for the testimonies that these whistleblowers are saying. And, you know, the government is not going to confirm anything. I mean, they're the ones that are trying to cover it up according to these testimonies that we're seeing.
Did you have any personal knowledge of people who have been harmed or injured in efforts to cover up or conceal these extraterrestrial technology?
Yes.
Anyone been murdered that you would that you know of or have heard of, I guess?
I have to be careful asking that question. I directed people with that knowledge to the appropriate authorities.
But even though I'm saying all of this, I'm not claiming that they're lying or that they're not saying the truth. God, I hope they're saying the truth. I hope everything that they've said has been 100% true, because this would be such amazing news and such amazing advancements into the future. I mean, I don't watch news, but this is news. I mean, even through my skepticism, I'm like 80% convinced that what they're saying is legit. I mean, maybe there's a little bit of twisted memory going about, but still, all of the things that they've said sounds legit. And I mean, just looking at their credentials, like Ryan FOBS Graves, a former pilot with 10 years of experience in the U.S. Navy, David Charles Grusch, however you say it, a former intelligence officer for the U.S. Air Force and the NGA, and retired U.S. Navy Commander David Fravor, who on his oral statement said that he was the commanding officer of Striker Fighter Squadron 41, the world-famous Black Aces. I don't know what that is, but it sounds legit to me. So now I just want to show you guys a few highlights that I thought were very interesting in the hearing. With the first one being the main question that anyone would ask when talking about the possibility of aliens is, are they hostile or not? Are they friend or are they foe?
This is for any one of you. Based off of each of your experiences and observations, do you believe UAPs pose a potential threat to our national security?
Yes, and here's why. The technology that we faced was far superior than anything that we had, and you could put that anywhere. If you had one, you captured one, you reverse engineered it, you got it to work, you're talking something that can go into space, go someplace, drop down in a matter of seconds, do whatever it wants, and leave, and there's nothing we can do about it. Nothing.
Okay. You two?
Well, I would also like to add, from a commercial aviation and military aviation perspective, we deal with uncertainty in our operating space as a matter of our professional actions. Identifying friend from foe is very important to us. And so when we have unidentified targets and we continue to ignore those due to a stigma or a fear of what it could be, that's an opening that our adversaries can take advantage of.
At one point, you had said that there has been harmful activity or aggressive activity. Has any of the activity been aggressive, been hostile in your reports?
I know of multiple colleagues of mine that got physically injured. And the activity, and I got to
by UAPs or by people within the federal government?
both.
Okay, so there has been activity by alien or non-human technology and or beings that has caused harm to humans.
I can't get into the specifics in an open environment, but at least the activity that I personally witnessed, and I have to be very careful here, because they tell you never to acknowledge tradecraft, right? So what I personally witnessed myself and my wife was very disturbing.
Yeah, I mean, what did we expect? I mean, if the whole Earth isn't all sunshine and rainbows, what makes us think that the entire universe would be too? I mean, it's kind of scary to think about it too. They've mastered space travel and they've shown us time and time again how advanced their technology is. I mean, just imagine, we're just looking at all the aircraft that they possess. We have not seen their weaponry, if they possess any. I'm assuming they would, for self-defense, but we haven't seen that yet, and I don't know, it's just scary to think about. I mean, this is one of the main reasons that the hearing was held in the first place, to discuss if this poses a risk to national security. Luckily, it seems we haven't given them a reason to attack us or invade us or do anything hostile to us. So I'm assuming that most of the encounters that these people have had or the hostility that they claim is probably due to like self-defense or something, little misunderstanding between two worlds. Or at least that's what my optimism wants to think. I don't want to think that they're evil or that they just want to like take us for our resources. Like, just don't think about that either. Just let's not think about that, because then I'll freak out, then you'll freak out, and then it's not going to be good. Anyways, they brought up the question of, what do these UFOs look like, or how do they move? Are they the same type of UFOs that we would envision when we were kids? Little silver flying saucer with like little rainbow lights at the bottom and a big glass dome. Newsflash, no, that's not what it looks like at all. Actually, the complete opposite.
He said he was 50 feet away from it,
Yes, sir.
and his description of the object was consistent with the description you gave us before.
A dark gray or a black cube inside of a clear sphere.
Inside of a clear sphere,
Yes.
and with no self-evident propulsion system.
No wings, no IR energy coming off of the vehicle, nothing tethering it to the ground. And that was primarily what we were experiencing out there. The objects that are being seen by commercial pilots are performing maneuvers that are unexplainable due to our current understanding of our technology and our capabilities as a country, and that applies for the military as well.
Mr. Fravor?
Yeah, I concur with that. We have nothing that can stop in midair and go the other direction, nor do we have anything that can, like in our situation, come down from space, hang out for 3 hours, and go back up.
Honestly, I wasn't sure what I was expecting, but a black cube surrounded by a sort of glass or clear sphere was not anywhere on the list. I mean, this isn't also denying any other UFO sightings that don't look like this one. I mean, I'm assuming that it's similar to the way we have different models of cars, or we have different types of planes that do different types of things. Like we have commercials, and then we have military planes, and then there's other stuff. I don't know about planes, but that's what I'm assuming. So this is probably just one aircraft out of every different type of aircraft you can imagine that these aliens can have. I mean, there was this one guy, I mean, Grusch mentioned how one of his pilot friends who's had an encounter in the air said that the UAP was the size of a football field. A football field is like, what, 360 feet? That's huge. Another thing that was brought up was the question of whether the government has any possession of these UAPs currently. And yeah, they've mentioned that they've discovered crash sites with debris of unknown spacecraft and technology, as well as bodies.
Mr. Grusch, finally, do you believe that our government is in possession of UAPs?
Absolutely, based on interviewing over 40 witnesses over 4 years.
And where?
I know the exact locations, and those locations were provided to the Inspector General, and some of which to the intelligence committees. I actually had the people with the firsthand knowledge provide a protected disclosure to the Inspector General.
If you believe we have crashed craft, stated earlier, do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
As I've stated publicly already in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these recoveries, yeah.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
Unfortunately, due to the safety risks that he's currently under, Grusch couldn't really disclose that much information that we would have liked. You know, where are they storing these UAPs and where are the bodies and all that stuff. But he did make it clear that he knows where they are. Not only that, but he also confirmed that the government is actually trying to reverse engineer all this, you know, alien technology.
I might have asked this before, but I want to make sure. Do you have any personal knowledge of someone who's possibly been injured working on legacy UAP reverse engineering?
Yes.
How were they injured? Is it something like a radioactive type situation or something we didn't understand? I've heard people talk about Havana syndrome type incidences. What was your recollection of that?
I can't get into specifics, but you could imagine assessing an unknown unknown. There's a lot of potentialities you can't fully prepare for.
Again, he couldn't present that much information as we would have liked, but to hear that confirmation is huge. Imagine in the future if we're actually successful in reverse engineering all this alien technology and it's shown to the public. I mean, the possibilities are limitless. We would be able to travel to different worlds. We would be able to travel faster to different countries just on Earth. I mean, possibilities are endless, both good and unfortunately bad. They also said something regarding UAPs and how they crash, and I think it's something worth bringing up. This guy Burlinson brought up the question of, you know, hey, if these guys are so intelligent, then why do they keep crashing? Can you answer that for me? Bet you can't.
We are billions of light years away from any other system. And the concept that an alien species that's technologically advanced enough to travel billions of light years gets here and somehow is incompetent enough to not survive Earth or crashes is something that I find a little bit far-fetched.
I'll get to answer your first question, and I'm here as a fact witness and expert, but I will give you a theoretical framework, at least to work off, to kind of espouse crashes, regardless of your level of sentience, right? Planes crash, cars crash, n number of sorties, however high, a small percentage are going to end in mission failure, if you will, as we say in the Air Force.
Honestly, it's a valid question. I mean, you've mastered space technology, you've defied physics, but when it comes to landing your vehicle, all hell breaks loose. But as you saw in the video, Grusch's answer was pretty logical. I mean, no matter how much experience you have, you're still bound to make a mistake. And that goes for everybody, including aliens. And like you said, it's a small percentage of these aircrafts that actually crash out of all the other ones that do successful missions, I guess. So, you know, it all makes logical sense. During the end, they also were sort of mentioning how they want to do another hearing over the same topic, just with new people, new testimonies, just new information. And I just really hope that actually comes to fruition. I don't know if it's going to be until a long time from now, but still, I'll be waiting because this is something so historic and I just can't wait. Yeah, so those were the highlights of this hearing that I found pretty interesting. I wish they would have talked a little bit more about UFO sightings. I mean, they mentioned the Tic Tac incident and I think the Phoenix lights, if I remember correctly. But I just wish they would have touched up on that a little bit more, brought up more, you know, sightings, maybe try to see if those were true. But all in all, this was just, you know, an amazing experience to have watching this hearing. And I'm just waiting for the next one. But yeah, that's all I have for today. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you guys learned something new today. And yeah, I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. And thank you for the continuous support. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.